In this video, I'm going to show you how to paint some watercolor skies with silhouettes. So you'll need your watercolor palette, some different paintbrushes, masking tape, a dirty water cup, a clean water cup, and a rag. So I'm first taping down all the edges of my paper. This is called stretching the paper. Essentially helps keep the paper from curling up. It also creates nice clean borders. Then I'm going to put 2 pieces of vertical tape to divide my paper into 3 sections for 3 paintings, but you can leave this as 1 painting if you like. So I'm first putting water down on my first section for using the wet and wet technique, and then I'm going to put in a blue color so it's nice and transparent. You want your watercolor to be pretty wet so it's translucent. Then I'm adding in a red color, then going back over with some water to blend the blue and the red together, and it makes sort of a purpley color. And then I'm going in and adding orange until it's a nice gradient, all the colors are blended. Now I cleaned off my brush and I can lift away some of the color. So I just dried off my brush and cleaned it, and now I can take away color, and this creates clouds. So I'm just using strokes back and forth to lift away the paint and kind of create a streaky cloud effect. And to emphasize this more, I'm going back in and adding even some more dark color. Now this isn't really blending too much because it started to dry underneath, which is what I wanted. So I'm just adding in some different lines, different horizontal lines, using a little water when needed to blend it to make a sky. Second panel, I did water all over. Again, I'm using wet and wet, and I'm first doing a purple color, and I'm letting it sort of drip down the page as I like. Then I'm blending in a transparent blue color, then a red color, and using water to create nice gradients in between, and I decided to add some orange at the bottom again. Third panel, cover it with water for the wet and wet technique. And now I'm going to add in sort of a light purpley pink first, and I'm going in and adding in some of the darker purple on top, but I'm leaving some of that pink showing underneath. So this one I'm not going to blend nice and smooth because I want to do that cloud effect again. So then I added some more of the lighter pink toward the bottom, and I'm taking up some of the color with a dry brush and then going in and adding some really transparent layers. So these are layers that have a lot of water and not a lot of color, and I'm adding them on top of the colors that I already had. And when your paper started to dry a little bit, this is pretty easy. It doesn't bleed, so you can see some of those streaky lines, which is what I want so that it looks like a sky. Now that this first panel is totally dry, I've decided I'm going to create some birds on a wire here. So I just drew in my line, and then I'm looking at a reference image of some birds on a wire, and I'm drawing those birds sort of as I see them. So it is totally okay to use reference images to get some inspiration for what kind of silhouette you want to paint in black. So after I drew it in, I painted it with my black, and then I just decided from imagination to add a second little wire and add in a couple more birds just to add a little bit more dimension and interest to this painting. For my second painting, I want to do a desert scene, so I should draw this in first, but for this video I'm just going to go ahead and paint it in straight just to make this a little bit more quick. So I created the ground and I painted in some bushes there, and I decided to paint in a cactus here. So I'm looking at a reference image to get the shape of this cactus and just modifying it and changing it as I think it's necessary. Now you can paint whatever you like. It doesn't have to be trees, but it can be other nature scenes. So it could be maybe smaller trees and a mountain range. It could be animals. It could be people. You could have any sort of silhouette in the front that you like. You do not have to paint trees or paint this scene that I've done here. So for my last panel, I decided to do some palm trees. So for the palm trees, I'm just painting a line to show the main branch, and then adding a little bit of smaller lines to make it look kind of spiky. So it's just a line across and then add some smaller lines coming off of it. I'm looking at my reference image to get the shapes. And I decided I wanted to add a few more smaller palm trees in the background so they look further away, so that's why they're smaller and have a little bit thinner trunks here as well. So I'm just adding in my last tree, and then I'm finished with my painting. So I can take up all that masking tape that I laid down, and you can see now I have nice clean edges, and it also helped keep my paper from curling up a little bit. That's it, now I'm finished.